architecture and various components of it. Clear? And the diagram, yeah, this was the diagram. And this is the typical component modules of DBMS, or we can say DBMS system architecture. So in figure, you must write that down. You just note it. Figure. If you write this answer in the examination, you will just write down figure 1 and use the caption database system, or we can say database management system architecture. Again, I repeat, you note down this figure as figure 1 as database system architecture and its component. So clear? So now we start from where we left yesterday. So there are variety of users who interact with the DBMS, but the way they interact with the DBMS is different. Every user interact with the DBMS in a different way. Clear? In this diagram, we are having some users at DBA staff, then casual users, application programmers, and parametric users. So parametric users, I told you yesterday. If some students missed that, I repeat the parametric user, because nowadays it is more important, because in interviews also they ask the question. So students get confused between naive users and parametric users. So parametric users are the same as the naive users, and these are the users who basically make up a sizable portion of database. End users. Clear? So the main they provide the facility for the end user, because ultimately end user has to do work, but they update the data, they update the database. Then that's why only end users pose the query and get the result, because database is already updated. For example, if I created a member, or if I created a customer, for example Dinesh, in the bank, and there is a query that how much balance Dinesh has. So I have updated the database in the data in the physical devices as Dinesh, because who's doing, naive users are doing this, and end users easily can access it. So the main job function revolves basically around constantly querying and updating the data. For this, we basically use a standard type of query. So note it down. We basically use a standard type of query known as CAN transaction. So CAN transactions is a special type of query. Clear? So that have been programmed and tested, which is programmed and tested. Obviously, which is what we are feeding to the database is in the form of data, and we are using application programs. Clear? And it is tested. Now these users need to learn very little about the facilities provided by the DBMS. They basically have to understand the user interfaces and of the standard transactions, designed and implemented for their use. And I have given you examples, so I will repeat these examples because these are very important. For example, the person who is working in the bank will basically tell us that the account balance and post withdrawals and deposits. If you are having query about your account balances and post withdrawals and deposits. Clear? Then reservation clerks for airline, railways, hotels who reserve the tickets for you people, and car rental companies. Basically what they do, they check availability for a given request and make the reservation. Clear? So another example, it's a clerks who are working at the receiving end for shipping. Companies enter the packages, identifies via barcodes and descriptive information through buttons to update a central database of a received and in transit packages. Clear? So these are the parametric users, and these users are sitting here. They're interacting to the DBMS by using CAN transaction. So, or we can say these transaction and compiled. When you say it is compiled, it means it is programmed as well as tested. Clear? So here this is DBA staff who use DDL statements. So anybody who is aware of DDL, what is DDL? Yes, anybody? Okay, it's fine. So now I will tell you and you will remind that yeah, DDL is this. So it is a data definition language where we will talk about the different database languages later on. So right now I will just tell you in brief what is DDL. So DDL is data definition language. Data definition language helps us to write different definitions for creating schemas. Clear? So data definition language help us to write different definitions or various definitions to create database schema. So it means DBA staff I already told you that is a super user, or he may be a database developer, he may be a database designer who knows the database technology broadly. Clear? Who know SQL, who know what is PL SQL and SQL, and what is the difference between SQL and PL SQL. So they write in DDL statement. Ultimately, whatever command is going here through this interface, this dotted line, whatever command is going through this dotted line, it fed to this by using SQL commands. Clear? So whatever user is interacting with the DBMS, whatever method they are using, ultimately the query has to go to DBMS in the form of SQL commands. Note it down, it's very important. Variety of users interact with the DBMS through variety of ways. Variety of users interact with the DBMS through variety of ways. But the query is translated into SQL commands. Query is translated into the SQL commands, which is fed to DBMS. Clear? So here you will see that it's one thing, privileged commands. So privileged commands, for example, privilege. It will be in the last chapter, but I will tell you in brief what is privilege. For example, in DBMS, there is a facility that one user can create another user. Another user created by one user can create another user. For example, I will say if Adil has created a user that is Ajay Kumar, and again Ajay will create a user Anushka, and then Anushka will create another user that is Hajik. So it means everybody is creating users so that they are able to do the changes, so that they are able to modify the database or do some query of the database or insert the values. Clear? Then further, Urmila will be the one of the candidate for which you are creating a user, and Tanjim. So it means if you are creating different users under you, so it's not easy that you will create a user and it's okay if you are not giving any privilege. So privilege means access. Clear? Privilege means what type of access you are going to give to your user. Clear? So we are creating users, so we need to give them privilege. Otherwise, all in vain. For what purpose you are creating the users? Clear? So privilege means we just write down. For example, if one want to retrieve the data, this is one type of privilege. If you are giving privilege as to your particular user that he may retrieve the data from the database. So what command you will use for retrieving the data from the database? Database already exists there in physical database, but now I have given the privilege to a particular user to retrieve the database. For example, I have given Adil the privilege to retrieve the data. Now, if you are aware that what command you use, anybody who knows some syntax, or if not syntax, just simple a clause. For example, if you, yeah, Shahid, yes, anybody? Okay, yes. Ajik, you are trying to say? Okay, fine. So let me answer. So we use a select clause. Clear? Select means you may write down the command. For example, if you want to retrieve the record of Adil from the database, so what you will do? You want to retrieve, just write down a query. Retrieve all the record of the student name Adil. Retrieve all the record of student Adil from student database. Okay, so it means a database is already created there, and now you are just fetching the query. So this is one of the typical query. So the answer will be, you just write down select star, because if we retrieve the data, we're using select clause. Select is a reserved word in the SQL. Select star, just use space between the what I am saying. Select then space and star. Select star from student, where student is a table which is already created. Select star from student. But now we want to retrieve the data of a specific student. For example, I was saying that Adil. I want to retrieve the data of Adil only. So here I need a close. Otherwise, I will get all the record of the students. If you write the select star from the student and then semicolon, and yes, mind it, every SQL statement, just write down, every SQL statement must be terminated by semicolon. Every SQL statement must be terminated by semicolon. Clear? So I will write if I will write a select star from a student, all the records of the student will be displayed on your screen. Clear? But I want the record of only Adil. So what will I use? So for this purpose, you will use where clause with select. Note it down. You will use where clause with select clause. If you want to retrieve some specific record only. So again, I am repeating the query for retrieving the record of Adil. Select star from student, where student is a table, where std underscore name, where std underscore name, because it is one of the field, std underscore name, it is one of the field in the table of student. Clear? Is equal to Adil. Is equal to Adil. Use commas. Clear? Semicolon. So you will find out that you are getting the record of Adil on your screen. Clear? So now it means I have given the privilege of retrieving the data from the database. So privilege, then other privileges, for example, if you are giving privilege somebody to insert the data, it means you need to give them insert privilege. If you want to you give some users to delete the data from the database, you will give the privilege as delete. Clear? If you want to give the privilege of that anybody can update the data, or any user can update data, so you will give the privilege update. So later on I will give you commands by which we can give the privilege. So see, these are the privilege commands. Clear? And the query again goes to here. Clear? Now casual users interactive query. Interactive query, just like I have told you earlier. Find out those students who belongs to Kashmir. Find out those students who belongs to Kashmir and Ahmedabad. So like this. Clear? And then application programmer, all of you know that they build application programs, and this one is pre-compiler. Clear? Or we can say host language compiler. Pre-compiler means, or host language means in which language we are using the work. So every language has having their pre-compilers. So I think you are aware of pre-compiler, or I need to tell you, because this term maybe I think that this term may be new to you. Pre-compiler. Should I define pre-compiler?
No,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Somebody is saying yes, somebody is saying no. So better is let me describe. So what is pre-compiler? If you want to note it down, please note down quickly. So some compilers have a pre-compiler, or sometimes we call it that pre-processor, for purpose to process the statements that are not part of the computer programming language. Clear? And if your source program contains, for example, EXCC, XCC statements, or EXCC SQL statements, then it must first be pre-processed to convert these statements into COBOL or PLI or assembler language statements. Now it depends upon the language in which you are programming, or you are writing the program. Clear? And another question comes in my mind, that is what is preprocessor also. So in computer science, a preprocessor is a program that processes its input data to produce output that is used as input to another program. Yes, Mohammed Javed, you want to say something?
No, sir.
Your hand is raised. Okay.
Sorry, sir.
Okay, fine. The output is said to be pre-processed from the input data, which is often used by some subsequent programs like compilers. So ultimately, its basic purpose is to support the compiler, not anything else. So clear? So now we dive into this diagram inside this DBMS system. So it is a compiled CAN transaction. Here are again the DML statements. DML, you are aware? It's a very common DML. If you have gone through the database management system. Adil, yes.
Data manipulation language.
Okay, thank you for Jahan Adil. Now I am happy that at least you rewind something from your last semesters. So fine. So it's a data manipulation language, clear statements. So we write here how to manipulate the data. So we use different commands under SQL which manipulate the data. For example, we update the command, data, we insert the data. So everything that we delete the data. So these are a DML statement. But it depends upon what type of query is coming from here. What type of query we are getting here. Clear? Then there is a DML compiler who compile all the DML instructions. Clear? So here basically DML compiler is nothing but some processes of a compiler. So in compiler, you will I think you will aware of what is parser, optimizer. The diagram which I had sent to your WhatsApp group, it clearly shows the various compiler phases. For example, the parser. So that query, this query is fed to the parser first, which is a part of the compiler. And what parser do? Parser converts that query into syntactic like structure. Clear? Parser convert this query into syntactic like structure, or you can say it's a tree like structure. So it identify what are the tokens or what are the identifiers, what are the operands, and what to operate. For example, if I will say A plus B, so this parser is able to identify what is the meaning of, or it will convert that operator inside, for example, plus then A and B. These are the operands. Clear? So the parser convert the query into a tree like structure. So you have done the with the data structure. There are different type of options that we can convert that query into tree like structure. For example, there is a post order notation. Yeah, there is a pre order notation, there is a in order notations. Clear? So parser choose any of these three and automatically convert this query into a tree like structure, so that it becomes simple, because this query has to fed to the your what I will say that optimizer and then query evaluation. So I will discuss with you the diagram which I have given you in the your WhatsApp group before I discuss. So you just think that it is a query. This is going to the canned query and it comes here. Clear? Then it's a again query compiler, the same thing. But whatever query it is coming from here, again we compile like the parser compile the query into the syntax like structure or tree like structure. Again, this is a DDL compiler which compile the schema queries. For example, if you want to create a database, so it compile the query that whether this query is okay or not, it matches the syntax or not, because DB is also a person and Tour is a human, you know. So it means there may be an error in with this stuff also. So if they're using standard commands to create the schema, it's okay. Otherwise, compiler will compile and will fed the query to this system catalog or data dictionary. Yeah, you will see that we maintain a database here, this database, but here we are maintaining system catalog and data dictionary. It's very, very, very important, because I already told you, for example, if you are searching a book, first of all, you see the index. If your content is visible in the index, then only you go to the concerned page. For example, I think you are searching the topic of networking, and networking is on 54th page. You see the index. This networking is lying in the 54th page. You just open the book, the page number 54. Clear? Now, if the networking is not available in your book, in your index, so it means you stop the search. It's very simple. So likewise, so first of all, whatever query goes, the query goes here. If it is in the system catalog or data dictionary, then only the database is, then only the query goes to the database to search the query. Otherwise, from here, the signal goes to the user that yes, there is no response or no data found. You will see in some applications, you will find out the no data found. So who is doing this? System is automatically doing this. That is no data is found. Clear? So system catalog, data dictionary, and you also note down, sometimes we call it as metadata. System catalog, data dictionary, or metadata. That is data about the data. Data about the data. Then comes the runtime database processor. Yes, it processes the query at the runtime because the user is interacting with the query at the runtime or at any time. So it is a runtime database processor. You simply say database processor who processes the query. Clear? And then comes this query goes to this database. If it is in data dictionary, then only the search goes to here, and automatically where your database resides, for example, in pages or in blocks. So it retrieves the data from the database. Clear? So, but the two important things are there. One is called concurrency control and backup and recovery subsystem. So concurrency control, if we say it's a very difficult process because in DBMS, entire data is centrally controlled. Clear? Because I already told you that all the time database must be in a consistent state. Now, to achieve this important parameter, concurrency control, there is an important property that is called ACID property. So every database transaction has to meet with this property. Then only you can say our concurrency is controlled. Concurrency means thousands of transactions are executing at the same moment in time, or vice versa. We say that the number of users are interacting with the DBMS at the same moment of time. So to control the entire things, to control the entire transaction, thousands of transactions, we must control it and we must provide the database in consistent state. So this is the component that is called concurrency control component, which enables DBMS to control the data in an efficient manner. Clear? So then comes the backup recovery subsystem. Yes, backup and recovery, yes. We must be able to take the backup daily, weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, depending on our requirements, because backup is important. If due to any environmental maladies, for example, due to earthquake or a flood or a fire, so if there is something that may damage your system, so if you are having enough backup, so it means again you will install the DBMS in your system and you will plug in your backup devices and automatically all the data will be retrieved. Clear? So this is called the backup. Now recovery subsystem means if there is a failure due to any cause, if there is a power failure or there is a hardware failure, there is a software failure, anything can happen because a machine is a machine. Clear? So or there may be vibrations factor, dust effect, abusing. So anything can happen. So that led to the failure. Clear? So if failure happens, it means we need to recover the system. Clear? And mind you that fault tolerant systems are one of the category. You may not have done fault tolerant system. So fault tolerant systems are those systems which can bear the fault and they are able to recover themselves. So two type of recoveries are there. One is called forward error recovery. Other is called backward error recovery. Clear? So forward error recovery means there are already subroutines, there are already procedures that are within the system. If at any time one of the procedure or subroutine fails, it automatically replaces its replacement, other subroutine. So it means that is a forward error recovery. And in the later on stages, it try to remove the errors that come in that subroutine, and automatically it fix it. So the system is doing all these things. So this is forward error recovery. And backward error recovery means if there is a failure occur in the system, so automatically the system goes back to the previous consistent state. So that is called backward error recovery. Clear? Then here is store data manager, which you control the data, and then here we call it store database, that is physical database. Now symbol of database must be same. Here because everywhere you go or in every book you will find out. So this is the standard symbol of database. So you need to draw only this standard symbol. So sometimes this database which I have drawn here, some people draw this so many databases inside the database also. So same diagram, but it is inside the diagram. So where you show we deal with nowadays, there is a term that is important in data mart. So data mart is also a database, but it is a part of the data warehouse. which is using nowadays. Clear? So it means in nutshell. So you are again. I summarize this because we are, I think, are down with the time. So again, I summarize, and the WhatsApp group, which I have told you earlier, I have sent that diagram, which is easy. So I will try to explain this later on in the next lecture.